Uh, I do believe we're live. We had a slight hitch, a slight worry there for a second because our internet went down, but luckily it's popped back up, and we should be fine. We should not have any itchy nose. Does that mean I'm going to be vexed? I think so. So we shouldn't have any more internet problems. Luckily, it's good. And today is December the 8th. Had to think about that. Thursday morning, December the 8th, and the spirit world sees all, as we know. I've had a great week this week. In fact, I've had an amazing week this week. But I'm going to wait to tell you about that in a little bit. But let me see. We're in Florida. It's gloriously sunny. I don't know what the temperature is, but it's sort of somewhere in the 70s. It's warm, it's breezy, it's perfection. It is absolutely perfect. And I know that some of you are all cozied up by your fires. Are you wearing your big thick socks? Are you wearing your big heavy sweaters? I shall be just like you next week, because next week I'm going to go to New York for Christmas. Yes, it's getting to be Christmas, so I'm going next week to spend time with my daughter and with my grandson, of course. And so I'm very excited about that. Now, let me see. Before we begin, first of all, I'd like to say good morning to Grey Eagle, who is, as always, standing to my excuse me, to my right side, and I'd like to say good morning to Chris. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Rosemary. You are absolutely correct about the weather. Couldn't be more perfect.
So, just tell me, excuse me, where are you today? As if I didn't know, but where are you?
The Weirs Waldo road trip has stopped. I'm in Venice.
Oh, good. Well then, it's so funny you should say this. I'm in Venice too. Are you anywhere near to me?
That could be the reason for the internet not having enough
I know
bars.
we're both using it. There is, for those of you who can hear it, there is a little bit of a. I can hear your voice before I hear your voice because the door is open, and so I can hear you, and then I can hear you again. But anyway, it is what it is. We have to deal with it. We just have to put up with it, don't we? Chris, is there anybody there?
There are, and as we're talking, people are still logging on. Mark says it's extremely gloomy in Tulsa, but he's alive and well and for the first time feeling a little more human since
Oh,
COVID and the flu.
thank goodness, thank goodness. Now stay warm, Mark. Whatever you do, you don't go outside. Tulsa. I thought it was warm in Tulsa. Where's Tulsa? Tulsa is in
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Oh, do you love that? Oh gosh, yes. This is taking me back. Do you love the movie Oklahoma? I love that movie. It was such a good movie, and the songs are so great. And I don't think I've ever been. If I've been to Oklahoma at all, it's been a very short, sweet stop. I don't remember anything about it, but I'm sure, Mark, that if it's gloomy, you need to light a fire, you need to snuggle up, put your slippers on, and snuggle up. And maybe after you've watched me, you can get going on a really good movie. Because I think when we're not feeling well, you also need a hot toddy. And if you want the recipe for my hot toddy, I'm happy to give it to you. Just let us know, and I'll give it to you on air. In fact, so excuse me. So while we wait for everyone to click on, or to sort of, yeah, to click in or to click on, I'm not sure which it is. Anyway, while we wait for people to come on, um, let me tell you a little bit about my week. I'm only going to do it a sketchy thing, but a little bit about my week. This week has been quite busy and very, very productive. And we've had some great consultations this week, and people have been, I think it's fair to say, people have been over the moon. Being able to connect with their loved ones in the spirit world. And of course, when I connect for other people with their family, I get it twofold because I get the joy of seeing the family who are wow, did you how did you know that and all that stuff? We get all of that, of course. But then, wow, this is great, this is fantastic. And then I also get to see their loved ones in the spirit world who sort of come crowding into my sitting room, and we just have a real blast. And so that's been very, very busy this week, but also very productive this week. So I think it's fairly safe to say that has been uh, something that I've been pleased about. I know that one or two of you want to know how are the repairs. Yeah, because everybody's forgotten about the hurricane now, haven't they? No, my repairs have not been done yet. No, my roof has not been done yet. We thought we were on the way a few days ago, but we have a little glitch. So this morning, um, after the show, we have to fix the little glitch, talk to the guy who's going to be doing all the work for us, and see if we can fix the glitch and then start again. But it doesn't look as if we're going to get started anytime soon, and certainly not before I leave for New York City. Yes, I'm going to New York City for Christmas next week. I mean, it seems, how did we get here? It seemed, Christmas has seemed to have crept up on us somewhat, and it's just been amazing how time has flown. One minute we were celebrating Thanksgiving, and the next minute here we are, we're talking about Christmas. And Chris and I went out last night. We went to watch the sunset. We sort of missed most of it, but there was this phenomenal deep red glow in the sky, sort of hovering over the ocean, and it was, and so then we got blue bits in the sky as well. It was really gorgeous. Um, and then uh, I we were thinking, do we want to go back to eat, which meant cooking? No, I like cooking, so there's no hardship to me. Or what do we want to do? So Chris loves pizza. I don't eat pizza really at all, but Chris loves pizza, and I said, "Then I know. Let's go to that little." And there's a little tiny, not quite a hole in the wall, but sort of like a hole in the wall pizzeria, and they make their own dough, and they whatever. And Chris is very particular about her pizza because I, don't ask me why, I have no idea really. uh, but she's very particular about her pizza, and some is good and some is not so good, and then occasionally you hear her say, "Oh, that was really good." So we went to this little hole in the wall, mostly pizzeria, but serving some Italian food, and we went in there, like, do you know how you do that off the cuff? You just make a decision and that's what you're going to do. And I had an appetizer, meatballs, because I don't have such a big appetite. I can't eat a lot of food all at once. And Chris ordered one of the biggest pizzas I've ever seen with all sorts of stuff on it, which when she looks at it, she sees beauty and deliciousness. And when I look at it, I think, ooh, no, not for me. So we all have our own, delights, and we all have our own, enjoyments of food. But I did take a bit of the crust off the pizza because I wanted to taste that, and it was a delicious crust. I said to Chris, okay, how does this compare with the other pizzas you've tried here? And she said, the best. Is that what you said, Chris? The best. I'm pretty sure you
Yes.
said it was the best. So we finally found a pizza that she loves, and it's only up the road. It's like 5 minutes drive or something. So this is good. This is good to know. And my meatballs weren't too bad either. Anyway, how are we doing, Chris? Is there, excuse me? Is there anybody now in the chat room? Are we?
Yes, yes, and they're thrilled to be here. Some people are off work and glad they can catch you live, and we
Oh,
know others are going to watch this later. I wonder how many that are on now actually got to partake in your healing on Friday.
that was nice. I thought it was nice on Friday. And of course, if you didn't get to participate with the healing on Friday, well, you can always go back into YouTube and go to Rosemary Altea healing hands around the world. That will take you to all of the healing, and there's a lot of teaching. There's a lot of talking about energy. I help people to create energy, to build energy. We use color in healing, so on and so forth. But if you want to know even more, I'm not going to show you the picture because it's of me. Um, well, I will. But let's ignore me. Okay, there it is, all done out there. The art of spiritual healing. Yes, we have a webinar. It will be on Saturday the 17th. So that's not this coming Saturday, but it's the Saturday after. Tickets are available. It says here that they're $50 or something. Let me just check. Yeah, $50. Anything and everything you want to know about healing. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what makes a healer. I'm going to talk to you about what you need to do if you want to be a healer, or if you already are a healer. I want to talk to you about enhancing and being able to build on the abilities that you have and enhancing your capabilities. And of course, we also want to talk about our patients and what they can expect from us and what we hope to give them in return. So, so that is on the 17th. I'm not sure of the time. Does it say there the time or something? Does it say something like
Yeah,
1:30 to something, 4:30?
1:30 to 4:30, but that's Chicago time. It would be
Oh,
2:30 to 5:30 Eastern time.
so that's 3 hours. That's not bad then. 3 hours. And if you go to my website, you'll see it there. And I'm sure there'll be a button you can click. You can click on it and it'll take you right to where you can get your tickets. And so, um, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I think there are so many of us who want to know more about healing. And there are so many of us who are healers, but we'd like to know how we can, let's say, do it better or even differently, or just find a different way of doing things. And so it should be a really great webinar. So we're looking forward to doing that a week on Saturday. Time just whizzes, doesn't it? And it'll be the Saturday. Will it be the Saturday before Christmas? I do believe that it is. The 17th, anyway. So, all right. So why have I had such a great week? I'm going to tell you. Well, first of all, we had lots of consultations, and they were, every one of them was a joy. Every one of them was thrilling. My house over the week has been filled with other people's families, lots of them strangers. And when I say that, I'm talking about people from the spirit world who come and they join with me. Now what happens here? Okay, when I give messages, you will never ever hear me say, I'm getting this feeling. You'll never hear me say, um, uh, what is it? You'll never hear me say they are telling me. You'll never hear me say that because if I were wanting a message from a medium, if I were wanting a message from the spirit world, I would expect that the person that I was talking to would say, "Oh, I've got a man here. He's short and very straight shouldered, and so on." And I would be describing my father if I were giving you a message. I would be describing your father, your mother, and so on and so forth. It wouldn't be something wispy. It wouldn't be something that's sort of somewhere in my mind in a vague way. When I see people in the spirit world, when I see them, what I mean is I see them. Really, I see them. They stand in front of me. In fact, I had a fabulous guy yesterday. Yesterday, I think it was in the afternoon. I got shouted at by someone in the spirit world in the nicest way. Hey, it's me! And we were looking for a particular man that we needed to see if we could communicate with. Hey, he said at one point from the from the back of the crowd, afraid that he wouldn't be seen, afraid that I wouldn't notice him, and he shouted at me, waved his arm at me, and then the group parted a little bit to let him come forward so that we could see him properly and talk to him properly. Um, when you go to see someone, when you're talking to someone in the spirit world and you're getting messages from people in the spirit world, you need to know what the medium is saying. You need to know it's not going to be, it's not a ghost, let me tell you. It's not a wispy bit of something or another. It's not just an image. It's not just a feeling. It's not just a sort of a sound. Uh, I'm going to see them, like this, but also seeing them in every possible way that you can see a person. I'm going to be seeing them. I'm going to be talking to them. I'm going to be paying attention if somebody shouts, "Hey, hey, me," or "Hey, Rosemary, talk to me." I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to look at them. I'm going to encourage them the best I can to talk to me, and we have real conversations. Um, so that's been going on all week. Okay, now that's work, and that's, I love it. But I do have also some exciting news. Of course, it's exciting to me. It might not be exciting to any of you, but it's exciting news for me and for my family because my darling boy, my grandson Reese, entered into a competition on he went for his whatever it was. He went to the competition on Sunday, and he had his appointment all set. It's very professional. It's a very big international competition, and so he went along, very nervous. It's the first competition that he's ever taken part in. He has had, he's done little recitals and things, and of course he's had his exams and doing very well in exams and so on. But this was a competition, international people from, I don't know, let me think, Italy, uh, people from Germany, from France, and of course people from New York. I have no idea where else they're from, but anyway, they're from considerable countries away, and they all come, I think, to the States because the prize for this competition is that kids who get the highest scores um, are invited to play at Carnegie Hall uh, in New York City. And for those of you who know concert halls and so on, you know that Carnegie Hall is in New York City. It's one of the biggest concert halls, I think, maybe in the world. It's certainly, if not the biggest, it's certainly one of the most famous. Some amazing people have played there, sung there, etc., etc. And anyway, so these kids, um, some as young as 5 years old, enter these competitions. It's a fairly serious thing to do, and and you have to get a certain score in order to be invited to play at Carnegie Hall. Um, but again, it's a competition, so everybody tries to do the best that they can do. So my son went on Sunday, and um, he when he came out to talk to his mom who was waiting for him, the judge came out with him and spoke to my daughter, and apparently she had tears in her eyes, and she was telling my daughter how talented, what a talented little boy he was, and how he'd moved her, and Samantha teared up, and then the judge teared up again, and it was one of those wonderful sort of, those love fests that you have. Anyway, so that was great. It was good to hear that. But then on, I think it was Tuesday, we got the news that Reese had come first in his category. So, look, can you see it? Can you look at me now? All right. Can you see the aura? Can you see the big head? Can you see the pride welling and swelling within me? So that's exciting. So my grandson gets to play, uh, hopefully, at Carnegie Hall sometime in the early in the year, or early spring sometime, whenever. We don't have the dates yet. Look at this. Can you see this pride? Can you see this? This is pride. Now I'm going to do something on Instagram. If I can manage it, I'm going to put a little piece up to play a little piece on Instagram so you can hear what he sounds like, and I'm going to put a photo up there so you can see what he looked like when he went. Velvet jacket, shiny polished shoes, little bow tie, white shirt. They have to do this. They have to get all done up. So I just thought I'd share that with you because I am a very boastful grandmother and I have good reason to be boastful. And I'm just so joyful that he was able to do this, get over his nerves, and he was able to do it, and he was able to do it so well. So I thought I'd share that with you. So you can see my week has been a great, great week. I've had a thoroughly, thoroughly fabulous, fabulous week. All right, Chris, what have we got? Everybody should be in who's in now. So questions, comments, what have we got there?
Well, Julia just typed in, wow, well done, Reese.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so early on, we had a question from Shamanth, and it had to do with dreams.
Hi,
So,
Shaman.
so 2 weeks ago, I had a dream in which I was floating among dark clouds, and I called out for my departed brother-in-law, and I saw him as a ball of light.
Oh,
And then
nice.
I called out to my departed grandfather and saw his face in a flash of lightning. What does this dream, the dark clouds, and the lightning symbolize? And do you have any messages from any of my departed family members?
Well, it looks like you've already had your messages. So I think, in our dreams or in our dream state, we're able to travel. And sometimes we have to travel quite a ways. And that is when we're able to connect with our loved ones in the spirit world. And that's what you were doing. You're connecting with your loved ones in the spirit world. And I think that, the dark clouds represent that, you know, people talk about the veil that separates us. It really isn't a veil, but there are a lot of people who feel that there is a barrier. And if you feel there's a barrier, then there is a barrier. But obviously, your loved ones in the spirit world were able to pull you through that barrier, or to somehow get through the barrier that you have created in that sort of the swirling mess of things. And it also could be as you're traveling or as they're taking you to this place. This is what you're experiencing. You truly are experiencing clouds and the light, the flash of light. Well, of course, you're going to see light, aren't you? And that flash of thunder is, I like to think of it as the gods are shouting. The gods are excited. Every little bit of energy is being used, and sometimes that energy is crashing and joyful, and sometimes it's calmer and more peaceful. But I think you've had an absolutely fabulous experience, and I think you've had your messages because obviously these lovely people that you've connected with are telling you we're here and we're okay, and such joy apparently. And wow, what a lot of energy there. So that must have been a fabulous dream. Um, when people say that, I just, when I had a dream, I just want to burst into song. I had a dream of a lifetime. That's something like that. It goes anyway. This is a dream of a lifetime for you. Fabulous, fabulous, Samantha. I'm really, really glad you had that experience, and I think you might have more.
The next question is from Cheryl.
Hi,
Is it
Cheryl.
is it difficult for some to communicate with us or send us messages? Do they have to learn how to do it? I look for signs all the time from my sister, but haven't been aware of anything.
Um, I don't think it's difficult for those in the spirit world. I think it's very often difficult for us here. I think that there is, even though we want to, sometimes we want to too much. We put too much pressure on. We put too much pressure on ourselves, and pressure or eagerness or too much excitement can literally act as a barrier. And They're probably standing right in front of you saying, "We're here, can't you see us?" And you put so much pressure on yourself to do this that you've built that barrier up. So I don't think the problem is theirs. I think the problem is ours. In this case, I think it's yours. What I'd like you to try to do is to just do this gently. Spend 10 minutes of every day. Don't ask any questions. Don't ask for signs. Stop asking for signs. Stop it. They will come. But every time you ask, show me this, or, you know, knock 3 times, or close that door, or whatever it is we're asking for signs, we're putting pressure on them all the time to perform. And that's not what we want to do. So if you sit very quietly for 10 minutes or something and just sit in a quiet room, no disturbances, do not take your phone with you, switch off the internet, just sit there. Only 10 minutes in every day, sit quietly. And before you are quiet, just simply say, you can say it in your mind or you can say it out loud, whichever. You just say, okay, I'm here for you. I don't want anything from you. You don't have to show me any signs. I'm just here for you. I just want to spend this 10 minutes with you. If you'd like to join me, I'd love to have you. The trick then is to then shut up. Oh, God. Wow. It's all very well saying shut up, but then your mind starts, isn't it? And your mind starts to go, and you're so tempted to say, can you see me? Are you there? Is there anybody? You're tempted to say all of those things. Don't do it. Don't do it. You sit quietly and trust that if they're around and if they want to talk to you, they will come. They will come and they'll show themselves in one way or another. It might take you a month, a week, an hour, or even a year before you get any sense of the fact that somebody's in the room with you. But give them the opportunity, and no pressure is the trick. Don't put them under any pressure whatsoever. I promise you, if you do this on a regular basis, at some point you will see, or you will sense, or you will feel. You might feel someone stroking your hair, or perhaps tickling your ear. You might feel someone just touching a feather light touch on your cheek. You might see or hear something. You might see something out of the corner of your eye, or you might. Don't be tempted to say, "Is that you? Is that you?" Don't. Just be quiet. Let it flow easily and nicely and give them a chance to do it in their own way and in their own time. I promise it'll work. Chris.
Tracy and Barb are saying hello, and Tracy says, I've been saving my pennies, and it won't be long before I can book a consultation.
Oh, great. Well, I'm glad you're saving your pennies. You know Christmas is coming, don't you? Just mentioning it. But I really look forward to talking to you. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So that's great, Chris.
Mark says, I have a question for Gray Eagle. I know he sees all. How is it that the millions of souls who have crossed over, the ones that reach out to us through you, Rosemary, are there in the moment? With me being here, present online, is my brother listening, whispering, talking to you, Gray Eagle? I know he knows I've been depressed with being sick, so I'm just feeling the lonely feelings.
Okay, I don't think I love Mark. I love that you think that Gregor is all knowing and all seeing. He's laughing, and I'm laughing. People think I'm the same. We can't know everything, and a lot of stuff is not our business anyway. But this is what happens. So our loved ones, uh, and I'm pretty certain for you, Mark, your brother, they're not necessarily talking to Grey Eagle. They're not necessarily connecting in any way with us. He is there. They are there for all of you, and this is why what I've just told Samantha is important. Give them time. Don't put any pressure on them, and learn to feel them with you. Learn to feel them there. they'd rather do it with you than use us or have to go through us to do it. They would rather you enhance your senses and your capabilities. And we've done many YouTube uh, snippets. I'm not sure what you call them, but if you go to YouTube with the healing exercises that we do, with the seminars that we've done that you can find online, with all of the teachings, and even sort of in the shows that we do, you'll see there are so many ways, if we're quiet and we pay attention, that we can connect with our loved ones in the spirit world without using someone like me or without using someone like Grey Eagle. They are by your side. Just because they're by your side and you're listening to this show does not mean that Grey Eagle is necessarily paying attention to them. It doesn't mean that I'm necessarily paying attention to them. They're paying attention to you. And the idea is for you to learn to pay attention to them. You can do it. Chris.
Well, you also have your book, You Own the Power, that has so many tools in there that people can use as
Yes.
well as what you have online.
Well, yes, but there's so many ways that we can sense, that we can become more aware. Talking of raising your level of consciousness, and I've talked about this a lot, and I've there's lots of videos. You can get them on my YouTube channel. There are lots and lots of videos where I teach you how you can raise your level of consciousness, and you can lift yourself, and you make your hearing more attuned, your sight more attuned, everything about you can make yourself more attuned and more sensitive to those in the spirit world, and in fact connect in a very positive, in a very good way to your loved ones without needing somebody like me. I'm probably doing myself out of a job now, but we can, we always have the capability to be able to connect with our loved ones in the spirit world, not perhaps in the same way that I do, but somewhat to some degree. So, don't worry, Mark, he's right there by your side. Chris.
Tracy says, I have had some difficulties with energy influences. Any ideas on how to deal with this? And she's
Absolutely.
explained, okay, she was explaining energy influences as I pick up on thoughts and they interfere with my well being, and it often happens like dreams while I'm awake.
Okay. It's easy when it's easy when you know how to do it, right? It's easy when it's easy. I always tell my students, and I always tell my daughter and my grandson, it's easy when it's easy. It's not so easy when it's hard. Okay, but um, it's a question of discipline. It's a question of self-discipline, um, and it's a question of choices too. Um, we all uh, have the capability of being able to control what we're taking in and what we're sending out. We're all capable of being in control of you know um, the energy that surrounds us and building our own energy. And first of all, you have to work on your own energy. You have to make it as strong and as pure and as positive as possible. And you can go to my YouTube channel to find all of that out. The second thing is that, when these thoughts or these other energies intrude, okay, it it's your choice. Okay. I'm in my living room now. I have my door open. I can look out and I can see everything that's going on around me. I don't usually keep my door open, especially in these shows, because it can be distracting. Um, so I usually close the door. That's my choice to do that. Are you following where I'm going now? Okay. So your mind is just that way also. So we have choices. We can open the door to our mind to allow these unwelcome or disruptive or disturbing influences or thoughts, other people's thoughts, and so on. Or we can understand that we control our thoughts, we control our mind, and all you have to do is shut the door. You don't want it, shut it out. You say no. You don't let them in and then start wondering who they are or what it is or what's going on with it, because if you do that, you're inviting more invasive thoughts, you're inviting more invasive energy. So when you feel this energy, when you feel this, let's say these intrusions or this intrusive energy that you don't want, shut down, stop. Stop what you're doing, stop what you're thinking, take a breath, sit quietly, take a breath, understand. There's nobody, perhaps this is why I'm not a good candidate for hypnotism. Nobody's ever been able to hypnotize me, and from time to time, I've sort of been in circumstances where it might have been possible. But I'm too strong-minded, and my thoughts are my own, and my mind is my own, and you're not getting in there unless I tell you can. And I think that we have to understand that our mind, if we keep the door open and we allow anybody in, like if a stranger walked up to my door, it's not that open. Trust me, it's not. There's another door behind the door that's open, um, and it's locked. I'm not going to allow strangers in. I'm not going to invite them in. I'm not going to let them stream into my house without me saying, don't think so. I don't know who you think you are, but you're out. You're done. You're out. And this is how we have to deal with what's going on with our mind, with our body, with anything at all. If it's invasive and you don't like it, then stop it. You just stop talking, stop thinking, just sit, stay calm, raise your level of consciousness, and just get rid of get rid of the unwanted energy. If you can't do it by yourself or you need a little help more than that, then God help me. Dear God, can we, this is disruptive. Let's get rid of it. But you need to learn to do it yourself, and you need to learn to be very positive about it. Those disruptive energies are only there because you're not getting rid of them. It's not that you can't control them. You can. You have the capability. We all do. It is that you have chosen to allow it. You've probably been curious initially. You probably wondered what's going on. What is this going on? And you probably wanted to experience some of it. But that's when you open the door and you let them in. So let's kick them out, shall we? Let's just shut down. Out you go. Not having any of that. And then when you sort of get yourself together and you open up again, you go for the good stuff. You go for the positive energy. You go for the light. You go for the bright. You go for the colourful. You go for all that very, very positive energy. And if you feel inadvertently something's creeping in that you don't like, shut it out. Not having that, don't want that, go away. You're in charge. You're in control. And as soon as you realize that, and this is not just for you, but for anybody, as soon as you realize you're the one in control, you're the one who says yes or no. People can't come into your mind, into your heart, they can't come into your space unless you allow it. It's not possible. So be strong and learn to cut it out. Chris.
Andrew's on from the UK.
Hi, Andrew.
Here's a coincidence. I woke up this morning at 1:01 a.m.
All right.
The angel number for that is as you let go and let God, thoughts automatically become more positive.
There you go.
Then there is a bloke with a Scottish accent who might originate from Glasgow that does daily angel message on social media.
Okay.
His one today was surrender is a spiritual practice. Does letting go or surrender mean anything to you or Gray Eagle spiritually?
Of course. I always say, to people, especially when people are going through times of trauma or decision and they think, you know, I don't know what to do, or or I'm in a mess or whatever, I personally have a rule. If a problem or a situation is too much for me, or too big for me, or too hard for me to deal with, or whatever it is, I literally will say to Grey Eagle, I will literally say to the universe, this is too big for me. So I'm handing it over. And I literally, in my mind, with my thoughts, with every part of me, I hand it over to the spirit world. I hand it over to God. I let go and let God deal with it. All right? I let go. If I'm not prepared to let go, if I'm holding on, it's not going to work. Now, here's the deal with letting go and letting God. All very easy sounding, and I say it to people all the time, just try and let go and let God. But there is such a temptation, right? Because if the situation, whatever it is, doesn't resolve itself as quickly as you might think, there's a tendency then to interfere. There's a tendency to, well, make a phone call or say something to someone that might affect the situation. And what you're doing is you're interfering. You've let go. I'm giving it up. It's too big for me. But yes, well, maybe if I do this or try that, you've you've not let go. You've just simply not let go at that point, have you? And I find personally that this only works if you fully have faith, you fully trust, and you simply, this is, and I literally say this, and there have been several times in my life when I've said this, it's too big for me. Dear God, this is too big for me. I can't handle this. So I'm letting go, and I'm giving it up to you. I'm handing it over to you. Would you please take it on for me? And then I let it go. And as much as I have been tempted from time to time to interfere, to say something or to think, still going, why isn't it solved yet? You've got to trust that these things get solved in their own time. They get worked out in their own time, and not in your way, but in God's way, which is so much better. Let me tell you. And I am thinking, if I had an example, and I do have an example of a lady who, oh gosh, for some reason or another, she harassed me. She called the newspapers. She would wait for me to go into a hall or a speaking engagement. She'd come and scream at me and what have you, and often she'd come up to the stage and yell and scream at me, and it was tough because I didn't want people to see, I didn't want people, my team, to mishandle her. I didn't want her to be thrown out. I wanted to be gentle with her, but at the same time, we had to stop it, and I couldn't think how to stop it. So I said one day, dear God, I can't deal with that. I don't know what to do. So I'm handing it over to you. And it took a few weeks to sort it out. But one day I had a gentleman come to visit me, and he told me that he was this lady's husband, and he hadn't realized what had been going on. Unfortunately, she ended up with having to have some sort of mental treatment and so on, because she just, for whatever reason, she emotionally and mentally she'd sort of crashed, and her husband hadn't realised, and when he finally did realise, he came to me and he said, "I'm so sorry that you had to deal with all of that." And I said, "Well, how is your wife now?" And he said, "Well, she's getting better." Because I'm not only, when I'm saying I'm letting go, God, you deal with this, it's too tough for me, it's too hard for me. I'm not just saying I want you to fix it for me. What I'm saying is I want you to fix it in the right way for all of us. And so letting go and letting good, Andrew, is that you're not got to interfere. That's the hardest thing, but it really does work. Chris,
Pamela says, "Good morning.
good morning.
Thanks for the encouraging words before our trip to Paris. We had the best time." Two places I really felt vibes were at the Shakespeare and Company bookstore and Sennelier Art Supply. It
Yeah, I
felt
know what you want.
like it felt like it was at the crown and back of my head. Is this creative energies that have
Oh,
passed through the doors through the
yeah, I
years?
love I love that when that happens, and it's right there. Now, here's the thing. So, if you talk about the brain, and I think most of us know we have the brain, that is our normal working brain, but then we have um, a second brain, which is actually sort of seated right at the back there and under the crown, as I understand it. And this is the part of us that I suppose that it's I don't know what you call it. So I'm trying to think. There is a name for it. And loaded. I can think of it now. But anyway, it is that part of us that it senses and is aware and so on. So it's the let's say it's the psychic brain. It's that bit that kicks in, and and it is it's the intuitive side of us, the very intuitive side of us. And it sounds to me like that was working overtime. Good for you. I love it. I love it, and I love the fact that you were able to raise your level of consciousness and to use that part of your brain that is very definitely connected to uh, the older way of things, let's say. I'm going to find out what they actually call it, and then I'll let you know at another time in another show. But I'm thrilled to bits that you had that experience, and just keep it up, keep open, keep an open mind. The scientists also say that that bit of it doesn't do anything. It's got no use at all. It's totally obsolete. I don't believe that either. Chris, keep going.
Sandra's asking, can healing be given to a person who doesn't believe in spiritual healing? Do they have to participate or even know that you're giving them healing?
I do it all the time. I'm sneaky like that. If I see someone on the street who looks to me as if they need a little help, I'm sending out my healing energy. I don't go up to them and say, "Hey, excuse me, but I've just sent you healing. Can I give you healing?" I just do it and send out my thoughts and my prayers. Yes, you don't have to tell people what you're doing. Uh, I think it's just a wonderful thing that we're able to do. Those of us who are healers, we'll talk about this more on Saturday, on the 17th, which is a week on Saturday. At the seminar, we're going to be talking more about that and how can we? Does our energy really influence those who actually are not asking for it and don't necessarily want it? And I can tell you that it's amazing to me how many people say to me, "Could you send healing to my mother, my aunt, my brother, whoever, and so on and so forth?" They don't tell them what's happening. I don't know them, so I can't tell them, but I'm sending healing, and then I get these responses back. Oh, 3 days and they came out of the coma. This was amazing. I feel your healing has really worked. You don't have to tell people what you're doing. You don't have to ask people's permission. I personally don't think you have to ask people's permission because all you're doing is sending out prayers and your healing energy, and you're not trying to interfere with their lives or control their lives in any way. Just sending healing thoughts and healing prayers and healing energy. Chris,
Danielle is saying hello from Quebec, Canada, and thanking you for answering uh, the questions today. She likes that the power to choose I like that we have the power to choose who we deal with.
of course we do. Of course we do. And we must always, if we can, exercise that power. And I see this all the time where people are, let's say, they're under the thumb of their mother or their father, or they're allowing it. I heard a story. I can't remember when it was, yesterday or the day before, about someone who wouldn't plan a trip because her sister wouldn't approve, and so on and so forth. And I think we've got someone coming to the door. Chris, I'm sorry, but oh no, stay where you are. We're good. He's left. We've got a parcel. And I heard the story of this girl who wouldn't do this or that because the family wouldn't approve, um, and all she was doing was wanting to go on a small trip. But oh, I can't do that because my sister would think it was awful if I did that, and so on. And I'm thinking, every time you allow someone else to dictate your life for you, you're giving your power away. I think it's great that our loved ones, our family, and our friends might have opinions and they might want to keep us safe. But I also think it's important for us to, if we feel strongly enough about something, then we should do something about it. And taking action is one of the things that we can do. If we allow other people to control us or to control our lives are so much less for that, much more rich if we can decide for ourselves. And it's the same way with the spirit world. It's the same way with pretty much anything that we do. The mind is the most powerful and the most positive thing we possess. Our thoughts are living things. Can we let our thoughts grow in a good way, in a positive way? If your mother, your sister, whoever it is, doesn't approve of you, then it's up to you to show them that you're strong enough and capable enough of taking care of yourself and of making your own decisions. I'm a great believer in people making their own decisions. And I hate to see when people cower in front of other people and are afraid to say something or to do something because they're afraid of somebody else's reaction. That's, you know, sort of called bullying in a way, isn't it? I hate it. Chris.
Shamanth says, ever since I read your book, The Eagle and the Rose, I have many times prayed to Great Eagle for
Oh,
guidance and help. Am I worthy to receive his help? And is he willing to guide and support me if I call him?
okay. Well, Grail is going to answer this for you, my darling, as he has his hand on my shoulder as I'm talking to you now. What you have to understand about Grey Eagle is that he is my spirit guide, and we work together in so many ways that people don't see. But Grey Eagle has his, as I have my helpers, Grey Eagle has his helpers too. He has people who help him. So that when he gets requests, which he does, you can imagine a lot, and obviously you've been requesting, he might suggest that this person or that person or somebody who is helping him, if he doesn't have the time to deal with it himself, he will make sure that your request is heard. He will make sure, and all of his helpers will make sure that, you know, uh, your requests are heard and help is given to you when you need it. Are you worthy? I don't know about that. Are you? You tell me. I happen to think you are, but you have to believe in yourself and you have to believe that you are worthy. You're worthy of my attention this morning. Come on, you're worthy of Grail's attention as he's explaining to you how these things work. So I would say stop doubting yourself, um, own your own power, and be the person you want to be. Chris.
We're coming up near time. This is a question from Mark. With the many religions in this world, do those who pass with their faith worship God daily or all the time? Since they all lived and died with their faith, do they continue it in paradise?
Well, that's some do, some don't. Um, I've had so many experiences uh, of it's not that people lose their faith, it's that they see a wider picture, a bigger picture, and their faith might be narrow, or their idea of what is, what that holds their faith together might be this narrow in a space that's this big. And so it's not that people lose their faith, it's that they have a bigger and a wider view of what there is out there. And I've had one of the best examples very quickly that I can think of is some religions believe that when a person dies, they're automatically, like that, will reincarnate into someone else. Um, I've had experiences with people who are so puzzled. One particular person who's so puzzled that his father, after 20 years, was still in the spirit world, was still able to come and talk to him and be with him and so on. And he said, but surely he's not my father anymore. He's somebody else, surely. And well, I said, well, I guess you can hold on to that if you'd like, that idea if you'd like to, but I have him here. And I described him, and his father was talking about everything that he's seen his son doing over the last 10 years or something. And, so uh, every situation is different. That's all I'm going to say. And now I do believe that we're at time. So, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to all of you for joining us today. I'd also like to say thanks to Chris, great facilitating there. And last but not least, we know this, don't we? I'd like to say thank you to Grey Eagle for his presence here today in helping me to answer all of the questions you've had. I love the questions. I really love them because it tells me that you're thinking. You're really thinking things through. I had a client this week who asked me this question: do they see the same moon as we do? Yes, the client asked other questions as well. Very interesting questions. Do they see the same moon that we do? And the answer, would you like to know the answer, everybody? Yes, I'll give you the answer. The answer is that when they travel, not just within this universe, but to the many universes that are out there, they see many moons, different colors. They have, they see many moons, many planets, and so on. But yes, they also do see the same moon that we see. There you go. So you never know what you're going to learn on this show, do you? All right. So until I see you again, we should be back on Saturday morning with our story time. And I think I have, yeah, I think I do have a good story for you. Anyway, perhaps a little bit of a different story than I would normally tell you, but that's Saturday at 11 a.m. And oh gosh, we'll be busy. Chris and I went out to look at some of the lights that people have put up around their homes. We might be doing, I don't know. No, we're going to dinner tonight with my neighbour who does the greatest grilled chicken wings. So we're going to be doing that tonight. And then, as I've said, Saturday we'll be back with story time. So until I see you again, thank you once again for joining me. I hope you become my groupies because I love my groupies. And until I see you all again, please, please, please have a very blessed rest of the day, everybody, and have a very blessed weekend. Bye bye.